What is going on, everybody? I'm your average gamer. As always, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video, I want to talk about God of War Ragnarok. I have a lot to say about it, so be sure to strap yourselves in. Also, I have what I feel like might be a super unpopular opinion, which I'll talk about later in the video so nobody gets upset, I guess, in any way. Just remember, these are all my opinions. Anyway, I love y'all, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, of course, the first thing that I have to state out is there is going to be a bunch of spoilers. So click off of this video right now, okay, if you don't want any type of spoiler. I wanted to go in this game not knowing a single thing, nothing, and it paid off. You know, that alone was worth the playthrough. For anybody that's watching somebody else play the game, I highly recommend to stop wherever you are. So when you play the game, it's your first experience at everything, you know. That's one of the main focal points I talk about on this channel, is that video games can give you this magical type of feeling, you know, a feeling that you can never ever get back. And this game, for me at least, was that feeling where, you know, granted I beat it in 3 or 4 days, which is like, you know, pretty quick, not gonna lie, but I had a bunch of passion and love for this game. I waited for this game for 4 years, so of course, yes, I wanted to play it the second it came out, which is what I did. On release day at 12 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday, I played it, and then I didn't go to bed for like a day and a half. You know, I took like some power naps and stuff like that, but my mind was too eager to play this game. Like I said, I have a bunch to talk about. I'm going to be everywhere. I wanted to like make a script or bullet points, but even then when I was doing that, I was getting off track because of, again, all the things that just scatter through my mind. It's hard for me to stay focused on pretty much anything, especially in this game when there's a million different things going on. So now I'm going to talk about the story itself, the game itself, which will contain the spoilers. So like I said in the beginning, I highly recommend not watching this unless you already played the game and or you don't care. You know, I welcome anybody to tag along on this video for sure, but I just want you guys to know that there is a lot that goes on in this game, where there were so many times I sat here just in awe based off of what I was seeing, you know, what's going on and what's happening. For example, like I said, there's spoilers, right? In no specific order, one of the craziest things that you get to do is play as Atreus, which is something that I had recommended in the 2018 God of War. Not saying that's when it should have happened, but after playing that game so much, I said, you know, after Ragnarok, they should make a low-key game. And it's kind of funny to see them already headed in that direction. But anyway, the first thing I do want to talk about is the beginning of this game, the intro to this game. It is unanimously the greatest intro to any game ever, okay? It's not even close. It just throws you in there. But to me, what makes it so good isn't how fast-paced everything is. It's the ability to slow things down. So when you first get to play as Kratos, when you're done with the intro of Freya chasing you and all this crazy stuff, right? Like any real gamer does, I sat there and experimented with my moveset to see what was changed or the similarities between this game and the last game. And immediately I knew that there was going to be a little bit difference in combat, but the fundamentals were there. Anyway, what I thought was an amazing intro was when you're trying to find Atreus and you're introduced to the new combat in that way. And then as soon as you come back, of course, from defeating the bear, which, no spoiler, I'm not gonna lie, I saw that coming from 3,000 miles away, but I feel like that's what was supposed to happen. You know, any real like hardcore fan is gonna be like, well, yeah, I mean, I saw that coming. Even though you might be surprised a little bit, you're going to see it coming. And at first I was a little skeptical because I was like, okay, like that was predictable and stuff like that. But as you play through the game, so much other stuff happens that might kind of be predictable in like hindsight. You know, after it happens, you're like, well, duh. But still, it's how it happened and the way you see it happen pretty much that makes it so cool. So the things that instantly blew my mind, of course, was when you were able to play as Atreus, the different companions that you have. Instead of just having Atreus like it was in the last game, you're able to play, or I guess team up with pretty much every companion that you've met across this journey, whether it's in the first game or this game. And I thought that was a super nice touch. It's not like it's going to change the combat like super crazy, but it changes the dialogue, you know, and that is fun. That is exactly what I like when I play video games, is I want variety, not just combat wise but story wise. I want to hear other people's voice and their opinions about things, their moralities. I like that type of stuff when it comes to games, and they nailed it. Another thing that they absolutely nailed right on the head is, dude, the scenery in this game. This is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Like, there's so much to look at, and that is where a lot of my time was spent, was me just literally watching grass be blown in the wind, or me just staring at the trees, or me going to the altars where the wolves are able to change the time of day from either day to night, and just did that a bunch of times. Because the fact that you're able to do this, is it single-handedly the greatest game mechanic ever added into a game? No. But you can tell that they put a lot of time into it. It's visually pleasing, and the audio is also just, again, nice to listen to, whether it's the trees moving, growing, or something happening. I like nature. Okay, so hearing that is awesome. Also, the fact that they used it for more than just changing the scenery around you, it's to navigate yourself around the map. So there's certain areas on certain places where you can only travel during the day or during the night, and it will remove or put some objects in the way, again, just depending on what you're doing or where you're going, which I thought, again, was just a nice touch, you know, just something I wasn't expecting, where it's the small things where as soon as I seen that, I was like, yes, you know, like that's what I like. Could they have done more with it? Maybe. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it, because I do think the game itself is a masterpiece. I think this game is one of the best games I've ever played. But there is a lot of biasy around this, just due to the fact that I am a hardcore God of War fan. But even though I'm such a hardcore God of War fan, I have a couple gripes with this game. I don't even know if I used that word correctly. I heard it like a couple weeks ago, and now it's in my brain for some reason. Anyway, yeah, just because you're a hardcore fan of something doesn't mean you're going to like everything. And to be honest, you might dislike something more than the average person, because to me, I'm very passionate about this, about the story, about the game itself. So it's not like I had this idea of what I wanted or was expecting, because any expectations that I had got blown out of the water. Okay, just like everything that I was thinking about, you know, the game just did better than what I could have thought, to be honest. And that's very rare, because most times I always try to keep my expectations as low as possible. You never want to be disappointed. And it's not like I'm disappointed in this game. No, again, this game has been an absolute honor to play. But there are like the small little details, which again, I'll explain a little bit more in the end of the video. But everything in the beginning, or the first half, or I feel like the first 3/4 of the game, is perfect. In my eyes, it is absolutely perfect. There's so many times where I'm like, what is going to happen? I need to know, or I want to know, and stuff like that. So the story is perfect. It is so good. Before I talk about any of the things I don't like, I want to put all my attention and focus on the things that I absolutely love, which is traveling to the different realms. They're beautiful. I absolutely love seeing all of them. They put a lot of time into that, and you can tell. A lot of small little details, a lot of big details. Just everything about the realms is really good. There's some times where it can feel overwhelming, because some of them are huge, and I'm like, dang. But you know, as a huge fan of the game, I didn't care. I wanted more of everything. So that was a nice touch. Plus, the companions you get to travel with, like I said earlier, I thought was super cool, because it gives you just variety. And speaking of variety, you get another weapon in this game, right? And I like it. I really do. I think it is one of the better weapons in this game. As somebody that basically really only used the Leviathan axe, I like that it didn't get nerfed. They reworked it, and every weapon in this game, I feel as if, is so much more efficient than in the first one. Granted, you can't really blade spam, you know, do all that cheesy stuff with the Zeus armor and stuff like that, which I'm sure everything will change. I've came up with a bunch of different build ideals already. But yeah, but this is going to transition into the things that I don't really like about the game, you know. And as much build ideas as I had and wanted to do more, you don't really get to experiment with them. You know, you get to sit there in Niflheim and do that type of stuff. But I don't like that, you know, because you're gonna get your runic attacks back faster, or it's like, even if I go to Muspelheim, that's not what I like to do. I don't want to sit in one area and just play the game that way. I want to basically play the game again, you know. And I expected there to not be a New Game Plus, so it's not like I'm disappointed by that. I'm sure there will 1,000,000% be one in the future. But you know, I have all these armors. It took me a minute to get all these armors and stuff like that, and now I feel as if I can't even use them. So now for the biggest problem I have with this game, it is the ending to the story. So again, I want to kind of defend myself a little bit. I thought the game and the story was amazing. I really loved it, and I loved the realization, the finding out. Spoiler, by the way, okay, so just stop now if you don't want to know the ending of the game. But finding out Faye was the reason that fate was changed, and not so much Kratos. That she saw this as a giant unfold, and didn't want that to be Kratos's or Loki's fate, which I thought was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge Kratos fan. To me, I wanted Kratos to be more involved and stuff like that. So one of the problems I have with the ending is when you meet Suitor. Okay, I thought Suitor was completely underutilized. Here's a character who is awesome, right? And everything story-wise is kind of just written so you can progress through the game a lot quicker. When you meet him, he immediately talks about the blades and how there's this primordial fire in it and stuff like this. And Kratos like, it's not from these lands and all that. And he was like, it'll do. And it's like, okay, like I want to know more. Like I feel like that was just so not corny. I don't know. Like it was just too easy. You know, if the blades were the answer the entire time, I feel like they should have been talked about more. I mean, like they are his blades. Like they should be special. And they try to make it special in that sense of like, without the blades, you wouldn't have been able to start Ragnarok and all this. So like, yes, those blades and Kratos are the reason that Ragnarok even starts. And again, like the story and the idea of it is huge and it's awesome. But to me, like, I would have absolutely liked if Kratos had the power to basically destroy Asgard with his blades, or some sort of version like that. Like he was Ragnarok. But he kind of just initiates it, and Ragnarok is Suitor and stuff like that, which I liked all of that. Okay, that I did. I loved Suitor. I just wish there was more of it. But yeah, those were just like the little details about Suitor. The main problem I had with this game was the ending of the story when you're fighting Thor and Odin. The reason I have a problem with it is because I feel like it's so anticlimactic. You know, granted, you have all this crazy stuff in the beginning of the game, which is why I might feel this way towards the end. But, like, you're hopping on a 4-platform type of battlefield to fight Odin and stuff like that. And, like, you know, to me, like, there was no tricks up their sleeves, no nothing of that. Like, you get to fight Thor, who is this drunken fool and stuff like that, which is, you know, has always been kind of his lore and story and stuff like that. But not saying you're not fighting him at his strongest or you're fighting him at his weakest or nothing like that. At first I was actually scared that I wasn't going to be able to fight Thor at all, but then I kept thinking to myself, there's no way that they would do that after the hype and build up from the first game. You know, so now I feel like I'm fighting Thor and that's forced, and I felt like that was kind of corny at the end. And then, you know, the most surprising thing was when Odin killed Thor. You know, I want the answers for that, to why he did that. Oh my goodness, like there's just so many things where I felt like those last two fights could have been way bigger and better than they were. You know, how do you introduce the game to Thor like that? And when you first meet Thor, I was like, bro, this dude's voice, his acting, like everything like that is so good. I want to see more of him. And then you get to see more of him with Atreus, and he's still just cool, like not cool, but it's still cool to watch him fight and do all of these things. And then at the end, you just, you know, granted, I was so over-leveled, and I'm playing on, like, the medium difficulty. I just slaughtered him. I whooped him as if it wasn't even a challenge, and I'm sitting there going, like, there's no way. You know, like, they even... Atreus makes a reference, like, you know, Thor beat you the first time, how are you going to beat him again? Like, kind of indicating that Thor has the power to defeat Kratos. Now, from my experience, I absolutely manhandled this dude. You know, it's that type of stuff. But then when you fight Odin, which power-wise, Odin is like 10 times more powerful than Thor, and you fight Odin right after defeating Thor, and nothing happens. You know, it's you're on a multi-platform It's this big circle that gets broke up into 4, and you have to jump across when one area is purple. You know, and I was like, that to me was just too old school. They needed to do more. At least just only because it's Thor and Odin. Now, I'm not sure if I'm comparing the old game too much compared to this one, where in the last game, you're fighting Baldur in multiple different areas. You know, you break the curse, he gets new moves, new abilities, that type of stuff. Freya's controlling the giant. There's a bunch going on, where I felt like this was just one and done, that was it. And there's supposed to be these very, very powerful foes that you keep hearing about and stuff like that. Again, these are just my opinions, so don't sit there thinking that I hated the game by any means. I enjoyed the game more than I could possibly even tell you guys or imagine. Like I said, my expectations were so high and they still got blown out of the water. I do believe that this game will no doubt win Game of the Year. Okay, the combat is too clean, but the story itself is even better than the last one, and that is so hard to do with how good that last game was. And now for the very last thing that I want to talk about, huge spoiler by the way, but that is what happens to Sindri. Now for anyone that doesn't know, or doesn't want to know, don't listen. I'll give you a second to click off this video. Okay, but Brock ends up dying, and Sindri takes it really hard. Now, like I said, the voice acting is so good in this game that I feel like they make you feel how they want you to feel. For example, when Atreus is choking on his tears, or he's sad, or he's overexcited, you hear it in his voice. There's a lot of that, where if he's excited, you're excited. If he's sad, you're sad. And that's the type of vibes I got from Sindri. You know, he's not just upset, or he's not just mourning, but there's like a darker side to him. I might be overthinking it, but I feel like a lot of people underestimate Sindri. I feel as if he's this really powerful dwarf. I mean, he's super smart. He has that ability to kind of teleport wherever he wants between the realms. And that noise it makes, by the way, oh my god, it made me want to just listen to it again. Like when he disappears, it makes this crazy ass noise, and it only happens for a second and he's gone. And the last time you get to see Sindri is at Brock's funeral, and that's it. And I want more. I want to know what happens. Like, that can't be it. There's still so many questions that are left in this game where I don't want to play another game to figure out the answers. You know, like I kind of just wanted it to be wrapped up in here. Maybe there's like a few questions in the future that might, you know, I don't know, might be in the Loki game or something. But me being a huge Kratos fan, I wanted everything to be summed up in this game, which almost everything is, you know, almost everything. But that Sindri part has me, yeah, as you can tell, kind of like, what the fuck is going on right now type of feeling. But yes, I did enjoy the game. I offer it to pretty much anybody that is willing to put the time into it. It did take me a little bit to beat it, like I said, just over 40 hours, but I'm sure some of you will get it done faster than I did. I was just trying to enjoy it as much as I can. One last thing, since I just remembered, another pro for this game that I absolutely loved. I felt like there was so many times where I was like, oh, this is the peak of the game. You know, like the amount of times that I thought that, whether it's the first time you get to play as Atreus, finding out his abilities, or of course, getting the spear. Now, after beating the game, I'll tell you right now that I didn't have a single moment in the game, but now I do. And it's definitely getting the spear. And it's not getting the spear, it's who you get it with and what transpires and all that. All that is crazy, okay? I think that will be a lot of people's favorite missions now. I'm not going to lie, especially again with how everything unfolds and stuff like that. But yeah, that is my take on God of War Ragnarok. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. You know, I recommend that you play this game and go in as blind as possible. Anyway, I love y'all, and I hope that you guys just stick around for the rest of this video. This combat isn't going to be like the most insane combat you'll ever see, but this is like the first time of me fighting everything, and again, my first time playing this game. I will make more videos around the combat, different build ideas, all of that for you guys, so be sure to stick around for that. Anyway, I love y'all. I hope you guys stay smooth. Peace.